one perfect solution, but there are clues that will try to trick our team.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Crazy Caleb, and welcome to Not Perspective Pegs. Continuing our way on with the Not Modded Module series, today we're going to be hitting one of the more tougher ones from the Not Modded Module pack. This one was made by Quinn West, and one of his, I believe, 5 Not Modded modules. And today we're going to be taking a look at Not Perspective Pegs. This one is probably my favorite from his pack, and it is a very, very cool concept. So, immediately, one of the things that you'll immediately notice with perspective pegs and not perspective pegs is not perspective pegs actually starts off in a down state. Normally, perspective pegs would immediately come up when the bomb activates, but in this case, they start up in a down state, and that's going to be the key difference between perspective pegs and not perspective pegs. So let's get right into this. Now, as it mentions, the non-perspective peg module will initially appear with all pegs sunken into the module, and press any peg to raise the pegs and activate the module. So let's get right into this. And this is actually going to be very similar to, I guess, for example, a Simon module, essentially. So let's take a look and let's see what happens. So let's press one of the pegs. It doesn't matter which one it is. And as you can see, it's starting to make a sound. And let's start looking around the module and see what happens. This purple right here. This purple is flashing. And what's going to happen here is that one of the faces of one of the 5 pegs is going to be flashing. We need to note down which face it's on. We also need to note down which peg it's currently on, and as well as its color. And the way that this works is going to be a bit interesting. The pegs will each have 5 uniquely colored faces. They're always going to have one of each color. There should not be any duplicates, as we can see. And what's going to happen here, initially in the first stage, one colored face on one peg will flash, which we just determined. Based on the flash, determine which peg to press. So we're going to be pressing one of these 5 pegs in this specific order. And in the first stage, the top peg is going to be peg 0. Now, the way that this works, and the value of the pegs increase for each peg you move clockwise. So I'm actually going to set this up similar to the way that it's represented on the actual module here. So this is going to be a 0 right here. And remember, it's going to be increasing based off of the value of the peg. So it's going to be a 1 over here. It's going to be a 2 down here. Let's space this up a little bit. It's going to be a 3 down in the bottom left, and it's going to be a 4 over on the middle left over there. So this is going to be the way that this works. So for each value, so we need to get a series of 2 different values as well as a table down below hand, and this is going to be using quinary logic gate based on a peg's position. So let's first determine what we need to do. The first value A of the flash, is based on the perspective of which it is flashed from, with respect to peg 0. In this case, in this example that it gives you, if peg 0 is top left, perspective 2 will be top right. So, currently the way that this module works is what we have here is we need to figure out which perspective we can see this flash from perfectly. This would be perspective 0 right now, for peg 0. This would be peg 1, peg 2, peg 3, peg 4, and in this case, the way that perspectives work, by the way, is when you put the peg that you're trying to look at in the middle and you see the other 5 colors that it gives you. And in this case, this is where we can perfectly see the purple that is flashing. This is from perspective 4, or peg 4 in this case. So what this means that our first value is going to be is this is going to be our first value right here. So our value of A is going to be a value of 4. So now, what's going to happen is we're going to get a second value. The second value is the value of the flash. Value B is based on the color found in the color table on the top right. This is the very easy part of this module. This is going to be a value of purple, which is a value of 2. 2, right there. So now we have our values A and B, 4 and 2 respectively. Now what we need to do with this module is a little bit interesting. We're going to take these 2 values, and as I just mentioned beforehand, we're going to apply a quinary logic gate based on the peg's position. And we're going to refer to page 2. And we're going to press the peg at the position of the result of the logic gate, and still with respect to peg 0. So what's going to be happening here is that we have our values of A and B, which is going to be represented by this little top left thing here. A is going to be our row, B is going to be our column. But the way that we determine which logic gate that we're going to be using is going to be based off of the position of the peg which is currently flashing right now. So currently, this is going to be the top peg flashing, which, as we mentioned down below, is worth a value of peg 0. So in this case, this one's going to be a peg 0. We're going to take a look at peg 0 over here, this table, and now we're going to find the intersection between 4 and 2. So it's going to be row 4, column 2. And in this case, what's going to happen here is this is going to give us a number, and this number is going to be the peg that we are going to push. We're going to be pushing number 4, or in this case, top left. So we're going to be pressing the top left peg, and if we happen to be pressing this correctly, it will not give us a strike. And it will now continue flashes. And now, what's going to happen here is we're going to have to go through this 4 more times. So it's going to be 5 total stages, and for each subsequent stage, we're going to press the pegs from the previous pegs, that's a typo, before pressing the pegs for the current stage. Additionally, the position of 0 will go clockwise 1 position for each subsequent stage. This does not change the position of the correct pegs for the previous stages. This is very, very important to note. So what's going to happen here now is instead of this being peg 0, this is the top right is now going to be peg 0, and everything is now going to shift 1 space clockwise. This is going to become 4, this is going to become 0, this is going to become 1, this is going to become 2, and this is going to become 3. And now, things are going to get a little bit different. This is very important. This is why I generally tend to use this diagram. This diagram really helps me keep track of what the current positions are and where we're looking at. So if we happen to take a look here, I can already see that this yellow is flashing, but it's not from peg 0 anymore. It's from peg 4. So let's take a look and see what perspective we need to look at here. So immediately, one of the things that we can do here is we can get our value of yellow. Yellow is the easy part to get here. But where can we see this from? Well, we can see this from this bottom left one, and this bottom left one has a value of 2. So A is going to be our value of 2. So we're going to get a value of 2 for A, and we're going to get a value of 4 for B. And remember, we're going to go down here. We're going to do the exact same thing that we just did beforehand, but it's the only thing that changes is the perspectives of which we're looking at. In this case, 0 is going to be rotating clockwise, and vice versa. So now, currently, this is flashing from peg 4. So we're going to be taking a look at table 4 over here. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to highlight row 2, and we're going to highlight column 4. And this is going to give us an intersection of 0. And that is going to be what we're going to be pressing here. 0 is currently in the top right position. Now, remember the result we got from the previous stage, which was a 4, which was a 4-2? It wanted us to press position 4 from the previous stage. Now, this still wants us to press top left, and then for this stage, we're going to be pressing top right. So every single stage that we get from beforehand does not change the actual position on the module. It's only going to matter with regards to the actual work of the current stage. So we're going to be pressing, in this case, not top, and then top right, which would represent 4 in this case. We're going to be pressing top left, top right. And that's going to be how this module works. And now we're going to do it again. So we're going to do a 4, 0, 1, 2, and a 3. Hopefully this makes sense. The hardest part of this module to understand is how to get the value of A, in my opinion. That is going to be based off of the perspective of which you can see the module completely. So in this case, we can see that final flash of red completely when we take a look at, for example, this bottom right perspective. We can see that red flash completely from this perspective. So this means that this is going to be a value of 0. This means that we can see this perspective from the perspective of that flash from the position that is marked as peg 0. So 0 is going to be our value of A. Another way that you can also do it, actually, to make it a little bit easier too, is if you notice that each of them happen to have very similar peg design as it does on the actual module itself. So in this case, what you could do is you could say, for example, for each peg, you could start from the northmost, and then you could say 0, 1, 2, and then you would be able to simply just mark that as 0. In this case, the 0 position is down in the bottom right, and we know that for this peg specifically, it is flashing in the bottom right position, so we know that for a fact that that is 0. That's just a little bit of way to note that down. Now, of course, you can do this any way that you want. I'm just explaining how this module works, and I hope that it is making sense. So we did get a value of 0 for our first position. The color of the peg is red. Our value of B is going to be a 3. And now, this peg is going to be flashing not on the 4th position, but now it's going to be flashing in the 3rd position. It's going to be flashing on peg 3 in this instance. So we're going to be using peg 3 stable. We're going to be taking a look at 0, 3. So row 0, column 3 is going to give us a 4. Okay, that's pretty good. So now 4 is in the top right position. Originally 0 was in the top right position, but now 4 is going to be in the top right position. So our flashes, our presses are going to be a top left, top right, and top right. Just like that. Another one. Okay. So lots of flashes on this peg specifically. It normally can go all over the place, but in this case it happens to be very interesting. So this is going to be now 4, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 1, this is going to be 2, this is going to be a 3. So next up, it's going to be in the 4th peg's position, of which we can see this now. Since we're able to look at this bottom right peg, which is represented by 4, this is going to be a 4 for value A. And since it is flashing red, it is not going to change the value of B, it's simply going to be another 3 in this instance. But now, this is going to be taking a look at the peg position that's going to be number 2. It's going to be peg 2 that is currently flashing, so that's going to be marking with this table. And now we're going to find the intersection of 4, 3. So row 4, column 3 is going to give us a value of 2. Now we're going to be pressing the top. So we're going to be pressing the top for this stage, so let's do top left, top right, and then a top. And then where's our last flash going to be? Okay, so let's take a look. Ooh, okay. I think that might be a red. Where could it be? Ooh, here we go. Yep. Red's going to be down here. So let's figure out where we can see this guy from. Now, remember we need to rotate this. We need to rotate these guys clockwise. So this is going to be 4. This is going to be 0. This is going to be a 1. This is going to be a 2. And this is going to be a 3. Lovely. Now this is going to be our last stage because it's only going to happen to go around. Each position is going to be held at least once. So once the 0 reaches the top left position, this means that this is going to be the last stage. So now let's figure out what we need to do here. So now we can see this red flashing from this position down in the bottom left. The bottom left is represented by a 4. This means that 4 is going to be our value of A. And the the color is going to be a red, so that's going to be a value of 3 for B. And then now, this is currently flashing on peg 3, represented by this 3 down in the bottom right here. So we're going to take a look at table 3, and let's take a look at what we get. So we get a row 4 and a column of 3, and that's going to be giving us a 0. 0 is currently in the top left position, so this is going to be our final sequence that we're going to input into the module. So we're going to do a once the sequence flashes, so we're going to do top left, top right, top left, and then finally top left. And just like that is a solved module. And just like that, also, that solved sound is very similar to the module called Simon Shouts. It is a very similar sounding solved sound, and I like the way that the pegs sort of jump up and down with the rhythm, and that's very cool. I think I like that solved sound quite a bit. So let's go over one more example. Hopefully all of this makes sense. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster too, just because this module does not take that long to do. And it's not really a hard concept to understand. It's a little bit picky with how it does it essentially, and how a little bit wacky it can be. So let's take a look and let's see what we can do here. Let's take a look at this last example, and maybe we can get some bottom left and bottom right. Those kind of were nothing really happened with them. So let's see what can happen here. Okay, let's finish this thing. And this will be a little bit faster, so just gonna, hopefully you guys can keep up with me. Alright, let's take a look. Okay. Blue. Okay, so now remember, let's set up our diagram here. So this is gonna be a 0, this is gonna be a 1, a 2, a 3, and finally a 4, just to finish this off. I like to have this little diagram here. Of course, you can do it in your head if you're EFMing this, but it's just much easier to keep track of what the diagram actually looks like and where the pegs positions are, rather than trying to keep track of it in your head. It's just easier that way. So let's take a look. So now, with this in mind, we can view this blue that is currently flashing from the topmost. In this case, it's going to be this peg, which is going to be peg 0. So 0 is going to be our A value here. And this is going to be a value of blue, which is also 0. Now, the peg that this is actually flashing from is going to be a 3, which is down in the bottom left. So this is going to be table 3, and we're going to be doing a 0, 0, which is going to be a 4. 4 is going to give us the top left. And that's that stage. Where is our next flash? Ooh, okay, this is interesting. Over here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, good. So it's going to be this green down here. Let's remember to rotate this stuff. So it's going to be 4, 0, 1, 2, and a 3. Okay, so now we can view this from the bottom left position. It's actually just right up in front right there. This is going to be position of 2 down here. So we're going to be doing 2 for that value. And the value of green, which is the color that's flashing right here, is going to be a value of 1. So now, with this in mind, our peg that is currently flashing right now is indeed number 2. So it's going to be right here. So we're going to be doing a 2 and a 1. Row 2, column 1 is going to give us a result of 3. It's going to be a result of 3. 3 is currently in the top left. So that's going to be top left, top left. Let's see where this is flashing from. The top. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now let's rotate this again. Let's do 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now we can see this peg. We can see this flash from the 3 position, I believe. Yes. So we can see this. We can see this peg completely from this topmost perspective, which is marked with a 3. So that's going to be our A value, and the value of what's this? Purple. Purple is going to be marked with a 2. So 3, 2. And then the peg that this is actually flashing from is going to be down in the bottom right, which is represented by a 0. Okay, let's go over here. So now 3, 2. Let's take a look and see what that has. So it's going to be row 3, column 2. That's going to give us a 3. 3 is now actually at the top. So that's going to be a top left, and top. Where is this flash coming from now? There, okay. So now let's rotate this one more time. So let's do 4, 0, that's not what I meant to do. 1, and 2, and a 3, okay? So now, we should be able to view this from the top, I believe? Yes, it's going to be over here. So now we can view this from perspective 2, and what we can do now is we can mark this with a 2 for value A, and the value of red is a 3, so 2, 3. And this is currently flashing from the top right peg, which is going to be marked with a 3. So table 3, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a row 2, column 3. And that's going to give us a 4. That's going to be down in the bottom right. So let's do top left, top, and then bottom right. And then for this last stage, the blue right over there. Okay, good. So that's going to be, let's mark this down. So let's do, this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Okay? Okay, so this is going to be viewed from perspective 3, over down in the bottom right here. So it's going to be marking A with a 3. Then, what we have is a value of blue. Blue is going to be worth 0. So it's going to be 3, 0 for this one, and it is currently flashing on the peg of 2. It's going to be flashing on the second peg, top right, which is represented by a 2. So let's go over to table 2, or excuse me, table 2, and then what we're going to have here is we're going to do a row 3, column 0, which is going to be represented by 3. That's going to be a bottom right one last time. So let's do, to finish this module, top left, top, bottom right, and finally bottom right. And just like that is a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.